Hey guys, welcome back to Set the Standard. I'm your host Genelle and
we got a puppy showing.
yeah. Okay, Dad. I'm your host Genelle and this is
Sam, the wonder dog, and Dad.
she can't know.
Oh, she can't see her. Oh, well, we have a guest today. We have a special guest. We'll be asking some of these questions. But hey, welcome, boy. Here we are.
Yes, here we are. We have a good topic today. It's been the topic of the weekend. We tend to pick our topics based off of current events in our family. We get inspired. So this topic was not originally on the call sheet, if one would say, or the set list. So today's topic is about love. How this came to be was we're going to be asking and then answering 4 questions, and we want you to follow along and then answer these yourself. It's kind of a deep dive into just like looking at your relationships and things like that. So we're going to cover, have you been loved? How do you know if you are loved? Have you loved yourself? Are there different levels and types of love, and what are those? And we'll be defining love because love is defined in several ways. There's the dictionary. There's, what's that number 2 one? Is that also a dictionary one?
Yeah.
Okay. And then there's God's definition, which we also have written over here that we're going to look at. So, Dad, go ahead. Why don't you define love from
the
dictionary?
The dictionary simply says it's an intense feeling of deep affection.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I think, pretty basic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you think about it, I don't know that's.
I don't know if I like that.
Yeah, it's it's the first one that comes up if you Google it, and then the second one says it's a bond that often involves the understanding of each other's core values, and beliefs and life goals. So, when you think about that one and you apply it to the various people you might have loved for or been loved, that sounds a little more. It puts a little bit of a framework around, because if you said, well, I know love because I feel it, or I know love based on a definition, it's probably a little bit of both. Mm-hmm. If you're asking yourself that question, well, I've never been loved, or yeah, I think I've been loved, or yes, I've been loved because of the deep affection. Now, the Bible's definition in Corinthians 13:4 is often read at weddings. It's
Oh, no way.
Oh yeah, it's like if you've been to a variety of weddings, generally I'd say more on the Christian side, the Catholic side type of thing, well, Lutherans, you would hear God's definition, and it's a very, several verses, and that one actually is worth reading in terms of a deeper, so I won't read that right now, but I think it's another way to...
Oh, you don't want to tell them?
Well, I mean, okay.
Don't leave them
Love
hanging.
is patient. Love is kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own, in its own way. It's not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices in the truth. Think about that one for a second. Love bears all things. So when you think about, a marriage or having kids, it bears everything. It can handle all of it. Love bears all things and believes all things, hopes all things, and endures all things. Love never ends. So I think if you think about, just if you were to break down each one of those verses and then apply that to the questions we're asking today. Mm-hmm. So have you been loved? Question number 1.
So we're entering the first question.
So then you could go to this definition and say, in your experience,
have you followed?
Do these resonate? Mm-hmm. Other than saying, oh, I felt it in my heart, right? Or I felt like the first one. It says deep affection. Well, then you get into what is deep affection? You could have deep affection for a dog, right?
Wait, does it say that in the Corinthians?
No. I'm talking about the
regular.
3 definitions we gave, the 2
right.
from the dictionary and the 1 from the Bible.
Oh, yeah.
That one could be, well, I know I was in love because I felt it. You told me that as a young kid. Your definition at that time, and it was very insightful, was, why don't I I know I am because how I feel.
So, have you been loved?
Mm-hmm.
Have you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think we're not defining the different types of love, although there is. I had love. My parents loved me.
Mm-hmm.
I know that.
And I think that I think when we're talking a parent to child, I think no matter what, it's in human nature for a parent to be concerned about the well-being of their child for the most part. Obviously, there are situations, but if we're talking, how it normally goes, the parent wants the best for the kid, blah, blah, blah. However, I think that there's a specific part of love to give to a child that I think parents miss sometimes because of how broken marriages come out to be, and that ruins self-esteem. I think parents not paying attention to their own decisions. So I think what kind of inspired this is, if I'm asking you, have you been loved? You could probably sit there and say, yes. Was it the love that you were able to feel safe or like somebody else could love you? I think there's someone in my family that feels a type of parental love, but I don't know if it makes her feel worthy of love for other things. So I personally would say I have been loved, but I also have seen that love ripped away from me, and it was conditional. And I think that's what scares me about love. It wasn't, I think there is someone in it that's related to me in my blood that I know now. I do know that they have a love for me, like if I had passed, I know that they would be sad,
Well, I use the example of, I know someone who donated an organ to one of their kids.
Yeah. Tell that. That's a good.
It was just, I asked Genelle the question, we were getting into this levels
topic
of love or whatever. I said, I happen to know someone who their daughter needed a kidney. And I want to say she was maybe in her late teens. She might have been even in her 20s, if I remember. So it wasn't like she was a baby or a young child. She was an adult. And he donated one of his kidneys to his daughter.
Yeah, it was her father.
And correct. And I remember.
And my dad looked at me and he goes, so does that mean that he
loves her
and she's being loved?
Right.
And I said, well, if he was physically or verbally abusive her entire childhood, or both, or one or the other, and then when she's on her deathbed, he's like, oh, here, well, I've got a kidney to give you. Would she wake up from that surgery and be like, wow, erase all that abuse. I got a kidney now and he saved my life. He loves me. I think it would. I don't know if you could say that. I feel like maybe she would be like, okay, maybe, my dad is showing. We don't know the history of this father-daughter dynamic. This was an acquaintance of my dad's. But like, if we were to assume, maybe if he was a great, and then I told my dad this, if he was a great father to her all through her childhood and her preteens and whatever age she became when she got sick, if he was there and supportive and all these things, and then also was like, wow, I can give you a kidney. I told my dad it probably would take their love just to like a next level. Like, she really saw how a parent not only was there for her, understanding, gave her the love and support that she needed through her life, would take it to just that deeper of a level. So we don't know. But like I said, I have a family member that I feel like, if someone were to say, do you think this person loves you? I would be like, well, I mean, I know they don't wish me harm, and if I woke up and this person gave me some organ because I needed it, I don't know if I would just wake up and be like, okay, yeah, this person, forget all the abuse, this person loves me. I would be like, well, now maybe we can see how we can work on this relationship. They've sacrificed something for me, because I think love also includes sacrifice. And I think a lot of the ways that I've been loved is someone sacrificing to me. When I moved across the country, someone sacrificed that, and that showed me another level of care and love for me. So,
well, it goes back to what you're describing is, in the case of a parent, this bottom section says, do they understanding of your core values, beliefs, and life goals? And if a parent's with you step by step as you grow and as you become an adult, as you get married, as you have children, and all the other experiences, then this is a continuous, I think it evolves, right?
I also think alongside of sacrifice, I think priority shows that you're loved. And I'm just helping you guys understand, if you're sitting there and you're like, have I been loved? How would I know? These are just some things that, how I've felt loved is when someone showed sacrifice and when someone showed that I'm a priority, because I think those two things are hard to do. I think when I haven't felt love, it's because someone wasn't prioritizing me, and I would prioritize them first, or so that's kind of how I've felt like I've been loved.
Okay. Yeah, and I think it builds,
How have you felt? How do you know you've been loved?
Yeah, well, I was fortunate that I had both parents for well into my adulthood, so they saw me in all these different ways.
Yeah, but that doesn't, how do you know you felt loved?
Well, I'm going to explain.
Oh, okay.
So when I had troubles in my life, pretty big ones, man, they were there.
Mm-hmm. Always?
Always.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And they were there in many ways, supportive, listening, advice.
What about loved by a partner?
Yes, I have. Sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And what made you feel loved by that person?
Well, again, I think it goes back to some of these definitions. They're there with you through the good and the bad. They're there to pick you up and build you up. They're there to support you. When you have success, they're there to celebrate it with you.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you want to celebrate your wins with? People that you love. If you have success in whatever that is, the people you want to see you and appreciate that is the people that mean something to you. And so, I had that, and I have that. Both, so yeah, oh yeah, and I think what changes this, and what we're probably not going to get as deep into this one, is, can you be loved by someone and then not loved by them?
Yeah. So that's like we kind of actually both just answered on number 2. How do you know that you're loved?
Right.
And my two things are through sacrifice and priority. What would you, if you were to narrow down, how have you felt loved?
Supportive.
Okay,
I'm supported. And knowing, I think it's somebody you can count on, has your back. Mm-hmm. It's kind of interesting to say it that way.
Do you think someone can not love you and have your back though? Or give a very
maybe for the wrong reasons.
No, I have friends that have my back. Would I say I feel loved by them? I don't know.
Maybe there's people who have friends they love.
But I guess,
and that's an interesting point too. Of course, we always talk about parents to children, the significant others, siblings, but can you have a friend that you have love for?
For sure.
Yeah, but it's kind of weird when you say it. I've had family members, I'll say it a different way. I have people who are non-family members that I care about more than that are family members.
Right. Well, that's because of damage.
But, it is. And
that didn't just become, you didn't just wake up with my little brother Nolan, my little brother Nolan and I, we're very different people. We are. But I don't.
Shout out to Nolan.
Yeah, shout out to Nolan. I don't just care for friends I love more than Nolan. Now, if he did something crazy, that's kind of hard to unforgive.
It's funny as you're bringing his name up. Look what he does for you with the.
I know. Oh, yeah.
Kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So let's keep going. So how do you know you're loved? We kind of.
Yeah. So I said priorities and sacrifice. When someone shows me that I'm a priority, because time to me and actions are way more than words. Someone can literally tell me how much they love me till I'm blue in the face and I'm like, you know what I mean? But if I can't see them or spend time with them or build experience with friends, brothers, lovers, whatever, parents, being a priority and showing time, I think that's where another one of our family members feels a little lack, because when they do want that time and that attention from that family member, they're not getting it. It's like a bunch of talk. It's a bunch of, okay, I got you, whatever. And obviously, if this person was in dire need of health right, they would be there. But everything else in between, it's not. There's a disconnect. So have you been loved? Have you loved? Dad?
Yeah.
You've loved in all different, probably all the way. You've loved animals, parents, siblings, friends, partners in two different marriages, and kids.
And it's interesting. And what I think I would say is the love for a child when you have children, and if there's folks out there listening who have kids, that's so different in the sense of how when you create something, literally, it's the only thing in life you create with someone else, obviously, and you see this creation come to life, basically, and then it grows and all that. It's just it's an unbelievable.
Well, now you're getting into the different types of levels.
No, but I'll stop there. But I'm just saying that love is immediate. I mean, I can tell you from the moment you see the baby, your heart melts. It's really and again.
You think all parents feel that way?
Yes.
Every single one?
Well, I guess it's not for me to say everyone. I would say when two people are married and in love and they make a child out of love, other situations, I still think that's a possibility. It can change people.
Right.
I always wonder
for the good and the bad.
Well, I always wonder about the women who are surrogates and have a child. I mean, that's got to be an interesting, because I know there's a connection there. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so I would say that. I would say from a significant other standpoint.
When do you think you first felt loved? That you
your parents.
Well, how old do you think you were?
Oh, I mean,
when you were
my age, I can't remember far back. I'll give you a specific example. I'll tell you, I don't know how old I was, but I'm going to say, so I was about 7, 8 years old. I'm at the playground near my house where I grew up, and a kid was swinging a swing and hit me in the face. It split my eyebrow open.
But I had the same experience.
And I was bleeding.
Yeah.
And I literally ran home from the playground. And it was not close. I'd say, rough, tough half mile. Let's just say, running home, crying and so forth. I come through the door, and it's my mom's there because my mom was home often. Mm-hmm. And she, of course, freaked out. But boy, she wiped it. She took care of me. Mm-hmm. We had to go get stitches, and I was scared. Mm-hmm. She was there when I came home. You want some soup? Whatever. She coddled me and made me feel safe and comfortable and whatever.
Your mom took care of you, and that's one of your first fond memories of feeling loved.
Yeah, and there were probably plenty before that. But it reminds me as I reflect back, when you're a kid in school and you wake up in the morning and your stomach hurts, or you gotta, your mom, you stay home from school.
Can I share when I felt first loved?
But I was just gonna finish my story. Okay. For the audience, because they want to know this.
Yeah, they.
But
care.
Seriously, my mom, do you want some soup? Do you need, what else do you need? All the things that, and you just know. And it was all, she was always that way. So go ahead. What's your story?
I think one of my first, it's not even really a story. I think one of my first, like in my head, the visions that I have is kind of when I was like a really young child. I was like maybe the ages of 3 to 4. I remember of when I felt loved is when my mom and dad, they just allowed me to sing songs and just, even if it was so annoying and I wanted to listen.
It was very annoying.
If I just wanted to listen to a song, I was definitely the kid and still am. I listened to stuff over and over again. I like to listen to songs on repeat. So when I was a kid, I would finish a song, I'd cry, my mom would replay it. I'd probably listen to the song over and over. And I feel like when I really felt loved is when I was exploring with my love for music, listening to music, wearing my favorite shirt, and just kind of running around. Like, as long as I was like no harm, no foul, just kind of running around and being free. I felt like I was able to be free spirited when there was actually a lot of discipline in my life. I think as a young girl where I really felt loved, I talked about this in my solo podcast about self-love and developing confidence. I was a very confident young kid because I think I felt I got that freedom, and then I got the support I felt like I needed.
Yes.
Yeah, I felt built up. Even when I was singing Celine Dion songs, my parents weren't like, shut up. They were like,
We're videotaping.
videotaping. So anyways.
We have archives. We'll break those out one day.
Anyways, my camera is dying. So we'll wrap this up. I felt like this was a good.
Well, I think number 4, we just real
Yeah.
quickly, are there different levels? I think we've kind of talked about that.
Mhm.
The love you have for children as a child, how you're loved. The love for your first friend. I mean, when you're in school, when you're a little kid and you come home from kindergarten, you say, I met Susie. I just love Susie.
So then there's a love, like I had a first love. I loved so much. And now I'm entering a different, I haven't talked about this too much, but I'm entering a different type of love. Oh, well, it's the both dating somebody, but this love feels so much more.
You're talking love for another person.
Right.
Right.
This love feels so much more healthy and different. And it's the same type of love, right? Because you love this person, you get close with them, they become a partner. But this love to me feels way more stable and healthy. If anything, when it feels unstable, it's because I'm fixing the trauma from the last one.
Mm-hmm.
So isn't it interesting that I'm feeling another level of love in a same category of love, right? When it comes to having someone as my partner, where you've said you had love for your first wife, but now you have even more love because you've learned and you've grown and you've healed. And
that's a key point. Maybe we should end on that, is that
yeah.
your understanding of love, maybe is a better way to say it,
Mhm.
grows through experiences,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately through hurt feelings and
Mhm.
so forth. What we didn't mention too was love for self. You have to
Yeah.
love yourself. So I think we can accomplish that on another
Self-love.
one. But these were just some overviews, right? On have you been loved? How do you know you're loved? Have you loved? And are there different levels? So think about those. Give us
Mhm.
some comments.
Totally.
Let us know how you feel about
Yeah,
that.
let us know if you have been loved, or if you're loved, or if maybe you feel like there's a lack thereof of love. And then maybe that'll help you analyze how to receive the love you deserve. Because if you're giving someone ultimate love, kindness, loyalty, communication so big, prioritizing, sacrifice, and you're not getting it back, you deserve that in your life. And it's hard, especially with a family member, because you kind of can't just like totally exit family members. I mean, some people do, but let this sit, let you think about this. Love is such a great and beautiful thing, but it's very scary. I've been
Right.
scared. It's
As is most things in life.
scary. So, all right, we love you guys.
That's right.
Subscribe.
That's a different kind of love.
Yeah. We'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye.
Peace.